Hey, you all, welcome back to the Empathy Doctrine. And today I want to talk about kindness and being woke. I recently watched the movie Superman, and I loved it. It's great. People like Fox News, or branches of media like Fox News, would have you think that being kind is wrong, right? I watched a movie in which the strongest superhero, in one of the strongest superheroes in DC, uses his power for good. Uses his power to protect everyone, regardless of skin color, regardless of belief. Superman protects those who are weaker than him, which is literally everybody. Sometimes he makes some brash decisions, but those decisions are about reducing harm, helping people, making sure people don't die. And that is a good thing. That is a morally correct thing to do. Now, again, if you watched any clips from Fox News when Superman came out, they're like, oh, Superman is, his cape says MS-13. When I watched that movie, it wasn't like Superman was going around saying, hey, I'm pro-gang. Nope. Literally was just kind. He protected everyone. He protected the squirrels. He protected every single person. Unlike Henry Cavill's Superman, who, when he was fighting, I think, General Zod, the entire city was getting destroyed and probably countless deaths happened. This Superman cared to get people out of the way. He protected so many people to the point where it was almost hindering his fighting because he was just protecting people so much, which is what a superhuman should do. If I was Superman, if anyone became Superman, we would hope they would do that, right? Instead of just letting people die. Like, if you had the ability to save lives, you would hopefully do it, right? If you are a morally decent human being. So Superman is a kind-hearted individual, and he's the strongest. And I think that's what people need to understand is kindness makes you strong. When you have power and you still choose to be kind and you still choose to take care of people and you use that power to protect and to enforce justice, not injustice, you are a good human being, which is what Superman is. I grew up watching heroes like Superman, watching heroes like Spider-Man specifically. For me, I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's uncle says, with great power comes great responsibility. I'm a big believer in this. If I'm ever blessed with great power, which in our world is not superpowers, but it's money, it's influence, right? Then you sure as hell bet that I'm going to try my absolute best to do good with that power, which is what bothers me with our current billionaires and multimillionaires and people who could really make systematic change with their money. They don't do good. In fact, it seems like they align themselves with evil. Elon Musk acts a whole lot more like Lex Luthor than he does like Superman, even though he has Superman-level power in the resources that he has. Just imagine if he liquidated 1 or 2% of his net worth and helped solve some housing problems. Elon is so talented in the ability to create companies and run them. It's something he's good at. He could easily create and run a company to help house people, probably at a cheaper or affordable price. He could help fix housing crises. Same with Bezos. He could help fix the rainforest. He could help fix, issues here. He has enough money where he could buy a ton of land or donate a ton of land to either, communities or whatever, and reforest it. But he doesn't. Why is that? Why is it that the people who are powerful right now seem to act a whole lot more like villains than they do like heroes? And I think the reason is because our system, our current version of capitalism that we have here in America, is run by greed. And greed is not good. But we have rewarded those who are the greediest, those who take advantage of people, those who are willing to step on everyone else to get to the top. Our system rewards that. It does. Superman wouldn't step on everyone to get to the top. Spider-Man wouldn't do that. Jesus wouldn't do that. But Elon Musk would. Jeff Bezos would. Altman would. And the system rewards that. We have the wrong incentives. We need to change the incentives so that people who are like Superman are rewarded for doing good, for getting to the top of the system. Instead, we reward the greediest of us, the most maniacal, the most ambitious, but ambitious for the wrong reasons. And what's so funny about the Superman being woke is woke means to be aware of injustice, especially racial or social. Obviously, Superman is big on, like, he's always been woke. He's been hugely woke. Superman in 1938, there was a comic of him going to punch Nazis. I think he literally went to go take Hitler away, right? Which the Nazis did not like. They were like, we don't like that you're making this comic about us being bad. Yeah, because they were the bad guys. Guess what? Shocker. So yeah, Superman's always been woke. He's always protected those who have been oppressed. Hell, every superhero, more likely than not, is kind of woke. Guess what? X-Men has always been an allegory for the LGBTQ plus community, for my community, right? Always has been an allegory for that. It never hasn't been. Star Wars is political. When you watch the rebels fight the fascist empire, the empire is fascist. The rebels are democratic, right? Every story in popular media that is a good story, Hunger Games, Star Wars, most, again, heroes are standing for what's right. They are fighting against oppressive systems. And in Superman, he's fighting against Lex Luthor, a person who is really racist towards Superman in the sense of he hates that he's an alien and that he's the best human, and that, he himself, Lex Luthor, isn't the greatest of all the humans. It's Superman, right? He hates that. He hates him. He just gets really angry about it in the movie. He has this whole monologue about it. It's like, oh, you're not even human, and everyone looks at you like you're the best of us. It's because Superman is the best of us. Superman is meant to be a good savior kind of type of character, but like someone who consistently makes the right choices and has the power to save others. Now, there are obviously comic book storylines within Superman and within every comic for every hero in which those heroes like stray away from being good for a time, or there's alternate universe versions, right? So there's the Injustice timeline where Superman is bad, right? Because Lois dies and it's crazy. But Superman in general has always been a paragon of being a good person. Captain America, good person. Spider-Man, good person, right? Everyone we're supposed to look up to fights against fascism and is kind. That's the truth. And if that rubs you the wrong way, you might be a fascist. You might be a bad person. And I'm sorry to say that that's not a good place to be in. And quite frankly, fascism is dangerous to society. People who hold fascist ideals, I do not hold space for fascism. If, I think I saw a clip recently from a Jubilee video where someone's like, yeah, I'm a fascist, and people were clapping because these are far-right idiots. And that's insane to be like, yeah, I'm a fascist. No, don't be a fascist. Let's not do that. That's bad. But there are people out there like this. It's a small amount of people, but it's scary that they actually believe it's a good thing. But all our heroes fought against fascism. Even heroes in mythology and religions. I grew up being taught the teachings of Jesus. Jesus stood for the poor, right? Jesus wasn't out here in the Bible specific. Like, there's no specific Bible verse that says, take as much money from the poor and give it to the rich. No, Jesus wasn't doing that. Instead, there's a story of the rich young ruler who comes in and says, hey, Jesus, I want to follow you. And what does Jesus say? He says, give everything you own away. Whoa. Guess what? The rich young ruler doesn't do it. There's also another verse where it's like, it is harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than it is for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Also, it says that the love of money is the root of all evil, which I don't believe money is evil, but yeah, the love of money, the love of greed is evil because it leads you to doing horrible things. Greed is a hunger you can never fill up, right? And that's why these billionaires keep wanting to get more and more power, because there's something so deeply broken within them that they can't hold a relationship. They don't have community, all this shit. I mean, look at Elon Musk. So many children, no spouse that specifically has stayed with him longer than a few years. And one of his kids, hates him, his daughter. That's not a successful man. That's a broken man. Yeah, he has money, but no one likes him. The public hates him now. And I'm sure there's people that work for him that are like, oh my God, this guy's an asshole. Now, I'm sure there's some people that, worship him, right? And this is coming from a former Elon Musk fan. I loved Elon Musk. I looked up to him. And then he started going off his rocker, and I'm like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit, right? The thing is one of the most popular people in history, Jesus Christ, literally is the blueprint for being kind. Love thy neighbor as thyself. You clothed me when I was a stranger in a foreign land. Tell me that that's not pro-immigration, pro-immigrant. Tell me that loving your neighbor isn't pro-immigrant and pro just loving everybody, because guess what? The entire world's your fucking neighbor, bro. Everyone's your neighbor. And what's so funny here is some of the people who taught me the love of Jesus Christ. And again, I'm not even a Christian anymore. I'm agnostic. And I feel closer to Jesus' teachings and his principles than I ever have before. And I don't even believe that he's the Son of God. But the thing is here is I was taught by people to love thy neighbor. Even though I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian cult, the Sunday school classes still at their core were teaching me about loving thy neighbor. And I've grown up. And the people that taught me don't even follow what they teach. The priests of Jesus Christ, the pastors, still don't morally follow their own code. There's one pastor I know and that I'm close with, I have a good relationship with, that voted for Trump. And I'm like, well, how can you justify voting for this man when you say you're a follower of Jesus Christ? You say you love your neighbor as yourself. You say, all sins are forgiven. You say all these things. Yet, you vote for a criminal, a rapist, a Nazi, essentially, a fascist for sure. And that somehow is a moral representation of what Jesus would want? No. Oh, I did it for the economy. No. Jesus economically leans far more socialist than he does capitalist. So that's what makes no sense to me, is there's a moral bankruptness to the people who say that morality matters most. And the thing is me as an agnostic, I feel more moral than I used to as a Christian. Again, Superman, Jesus, Spider-Man, these heroes we grew up with, they are meant to represent what we can be, what we should be, how we should treat others, how we should be accepting, not the opposite. Another issue we have here too is our media focuses only on outrage. It only focuses on the negative, which is why it's so easy for men to fall down the alt-right pipeline, to think that being an incel, being a fascist, being a misogynist is the way to do things. No. It's not. You've been fucking fooled, man. You've been lied to. Kindness is key. The amount of people I've talked to, especially women, who've said, oh my goodness, I was dating this guy or going on a date and, things were about to get intimate. And then I was like, no, or the things weren't going to get intimate, but they were thinking about, doing stuff later that evening with them. But then the dude said something super out of pocket, whether it was racist or whatever. It was just really fucking weird. And then we have men out here complaining about male loneliness. The issue is the men. It's because they follow content creators. They listen to other men who hate women, who perpetuate misogyny, who perpetuate the ideals of 2,000-year-old religions in which women serve men. I'm sorry, that's not the world we live in. Yet no wonder you're alone, because people who have a good brain in their brain literally know that shit is bull. It's dumb. And so what's so sad here is men have been taught that anger, that lack of emotional maturity, that being woke is bad. No, being kind is punk rock, as Superman would say. It is. Kindness is the key. right? Are we going to fix everything through kindness? Probably not. I do believe like there is time for action. There is time to use righteous anger. There is time to, if there's injustice happening and you're angry about it, we need to stand up. We need to protest. We need to organize, right? There are times to use those stronger emotions that are maybe sometimes seen as negative. There are good ways to use your anger. There are good ways in which to be critical. But instead, we've taught men to be angry at women. We have let the media push us down an alt-right pipeline. It's crazy when I do like video research on like the other side of the political spectrum, because like I lean left, duh. It is crazy how fast YouTube starts recommending me so many right-leaning content creators. Like the algorithm just does it so quick. And if you're not aware, you could easily fall down that pipeline. That's insane. That's insanity. And these algorithms feed off of it. So we have an issue on media, whether it's Fox News or YouTube or TikTok, that when you interact with content, especially in a positive way, that could be harmful, that could perpetuate really bad ideologies, it just feeds you more of it. It doesn't censor it. It doesn't do any of that. And there's a good and bad to that, right? Because it means no censorship in some aspects, but then also it means you're literally, free to poison your own brain with the worst shit on the internet. The thing is, our examples, Superman, Spider-Man, they wouldn't be incels. They wouldn't be wanting to hurt people. They wouldn't be racist. They wouldn't be anti-immigrant. They would be pro-immigrant. They would be pro-women. They would be pro-everybody, because they are meant to be the best of us. Jesus was meant to be the best of us. And every day, me and you should try our hardest to be like Superman, to be like Jesus, to be like Spider-Man. Not to be like the Joker, sowing chaos. Not to be like any of the villains. Our goal is to be the hero. Yet, the people who told me you should follow the hero ended up voting for the villain. And that's what's so insane to me. Like, it makes my blood boil. I'm like, I don't understand how people I know who live the word of God, right? Which, again, is a moral code, somehow justified themselves voting for a fascist. It's insane. But then you look at religion, right? And its structure and what it's done in the past. Religion has always been an arm of the government. Always will be. So it makes sense that Christians vote for Trump. But true Christians, I believe, the truest Christians, true Christians actually stand against this stuff. And there are some Christians I've seen out there that are like, yeah, we're pro-immigrant, we're pro-LGBTQ+, we're pro-loving people, because at the core of it, Jesus was love. At the core of these things, Superman is here to protect the weak. Spider-Man is here to protect the weak. And we should aspire to be Peter Parker. We should aspire to be Clark Kent. We should stand against injustice. And hey, sometimes standing against injustice ain't going to be pretty, right? But we should stand against injustice. We should stand against bad ideologies. We should come out and speak about love and kindness and knowledge and empathy. It's weird if you're a fan of the Emperor in Star Wars. It's weird if you're pro-Fire Nation. It's weird if you're like, yeah, I want the Death Star to blow up as many planets as possible. Yeah, I want Zuko. Well, Zuko becomes good, but like I want Fire Lord Ozai to burn everything. If you're rooting them on, we have a problem, right? That's not a good thing. It's not like, oh yeah. No, that's weird. That's sus. Like, if people are out here like, yeah, I like the Empire. No, like, you can like the aesthetics of the Empire, right? The Empire has some pretty cool, like, TIE fighters. They look dope, right? Sometimes the bad guys get, like, way better outfits than the good guys do in some stories. But you realize that they're bad guys, right? At the end of the day. Right? When Trump posted a Star Wars Day post, he had a red lightsaber. I'm like, bro, you know that the bad guys have red lightsabers. Now, I think red lightsabers are cool. They're hella cool. But you're not helping this image that you're not a villain. You know, you are the villain, and you post a red lightsaber. Unless it was on purpose, but I'm like, I think he's too old and dumb to know what he's even doing. And arguably, Biden was also too old and dumb to know what he was doing as well, but at least he wasn't a fascist, so that was a plus. The thing is, kindness is punk rock. Kindness is cool. And the heroes that me and you grew up with, because, if this podcast is reaching anyone, right, that's in my age bracket, some of you are right-leaning. Some of you are conservative. You grew up with Superman. What did you see in him that made you still end up voting for people like Trump, supporting people like Trump? You're not the hero. I'm sorry, you're the villain. You're supporting Lex Luthor, my man. Propaganda has worked so good, and this ideology that being kind is bad. No, being kind is good. Being kind is everything. Being accepting, being, a decent human being, that is a good trait to have. Right? Being honest. Hell, being blunt sometimes. We need to call each other out. We should call each other out. But we have to understand that the people that we are supposed to look up to, the heroes in the Bible, to comics, to everything, they're fighting against fascism, not for it. You're not rooting President Snow on in Hunger Games, are you? I hope you're not. That would be weird. And I'm going to say it is weird. If that's what you like, you're weird. I'm sorry. No, that's fascism. Superman wouldn't be a fascist. Neither would Spider-Man. These heroes are meant to represent good. They were meant to represent the best of me and you. And what we should be. And I grew up believing that, and I still believe that today. Even with Jesus, again, someone I don't believe in. Because Jesus was the paramount of kindness. Healing the sick when he had the chance. Feeding the poor. Giving money to the poor. Again, socialist. Sorry, he sounds like a socialist to me. He is. Again, Jesus wasn't teaching capitalism. Come on, guys. It makes no sense to me. It's like the truth is a lie. Right? 1984, ignorance is freedom, I think. Or slavery is freedom. Ignorance is truth. And Trump embodies that. He absolutely does. So we're going to wrap this up. Again, pop culture, good pop culture, tells us to fight against what is evil. Superman chooses mercy and not vengeance in most storylines. But Spider-Man saves people. With great power comes great responsibility. In Avatar, the one with the blue people, it's all about saving Pandora, right? And it's literally a retelling of Earth, or of American colonialism against Native Americans. It's just on a different planet. So even if Avatar is kind of not greatly written, it's still telling a really important story that is anti-colonialism. Star Wars is the rebels against fascism. The Empire is a fascist regime, right? Whether you're watching Moana, it's a pro-community, right? She's there for her tribe, and she has to go solve things to protect her community, to help people. Hell, The Incredibles, fighting against a tech billionaire who wants to be a superhero, right? Who wants to destroy cities, who wants to essentially weaponize superpowers and give everyone superpowers, which would be chaos, right? They stopped that. So, the good people are the ones who want to change things for better, who are the ones who fight against fascism. And again, fighting against fascism isn't pretty. The people in the Hunger Games had to go through bad things. The rebels in Star Wars lost a lot of battles. It's a hard fight, but it's the right fight. And if you find yourself on the side of the fascists, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. I'm actually not sorry. You're wrong. You're wrong and you're misguided and you need some love in your life and you need to figure shit out. Because hating people, having no empathy, and wanting complete control, that's what villains want, not heroes. And if you are ever given the power or the opportunity to help people, you should. If you are given power, you should. Because there's different kinds of power, right? You could have the power of money. You should be able to bless a lot of people with that. Create businesses that help people, support nonprofits, give your money away right to the people if you want to, do whatever you want. You could help people. You could create a nonprofit that helps create a drug that cures something. You could do so much with your money, help create housing, whatever. Then there's also the power of influence. If this podcast blows up and I ever get any great notoriety, my words mean something, and I should use them wisely and correctly to inspire people to do good, not evil. Right? And then there's power over resources, which usually comes along with money. If you have power over resources, you can ensure that supply chains are more ethical. You can ensure that prices could be cheaper and you could still make a profit, right? If we're playing the game of capitalism and you need to make money, right? There are ways that you could ensure fairness and better working conditions and better prices for the consumer without being greedy. But you don't. So if you have power over resources, be good. If you have power over money, be good. If you have power over influence, be good. All of us have different degrees of power. Hell, if you're a manager at your job, right? I'm a shift manager at my job. I have the power to, I could literally every day berate my coworkers who maybe do something wrong because I'm supposed to supervise them, but I don't. Why would I? They would hate me all the time, and then I would create a workplace of fear. Instead, I'm here chilling with them, talking with them, and when they do something wrong, I call them out on it kindly. I'm here to work with them, not against them, not to lord over them. You have the power every day with the small amount of power that we have as individuals, right? We're not billionaires. We're not, world leaders. Maybe not yet. Maybe one of us will be one day. But we do have the power to be kind to those around us, to be kind to those that we manage if you're a manager. And hell, if you're not even a manager, maybe you're a customer service person, you have the power to be kind to the customers coming in. Hell, if a customer badmouths you, you can be like, okay, I'm kind of going to give you the same energy, or I'm going to be chill, or you could kill them with some kindness, right? Whatever works. I've had customers where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to chill out. Oh, my light died. But the thing is, kindness is powerful. Being kind is powerful. And if the people with world-changing power, billionaires, world leaders, just practiced a little more kindness, a little more empathy, instead of power grabs and greed, we'd live in a better world. But they're afraid. They're actually some of the weakest people because they chased power in order to fill a void inside themselves so deep that power and money will never fill. Only love and kindness will fill that void. Only good relationships, counseling, and figuring out who you are will fill that void. And we need more people who are kind, who pursue kindness, who pursue love to be in power. And we need to change the incentives so that more people running businesses and being politicians are like me and you. Not like Elon, not like Bezos, and not like Trump. So, to finish out, if being kind is woke, then I want to be the wokest individual in the world. And in a way, being kind is woke, right? Being woke is being aware of systematic oppression and racism. And the opposite of that would be, if being kind makes you woke, then I want to be the wokest person in the world, right? We need to be like the heroes we grew up watching, not the villains. And if for some reason the villains inspired you, well, you need help. I'm sorry. You do. We need to get out there and we need to be like the heroes. Now, we need to be organized. We need to be getting shit done. And this is where I think the left and Democrats and people in general, we just need to be better at organizing. The right has Project 2025. They have all these systems and networks in which they infiltrate the system. We need to be just as organized. But we need to be honest. We need to be straight up. We need to be like, hey, this is the world we want to create. Let's do it as a group. Let's get some money behind it. Let's do some stuff together. And let's make the world a better place. The right has proved that they are very organized. We need to be just as organized as they are. But we need to be organized with love and kindness and empathy as our mission. Because that is a better world to be in. It is. It is the world I want. I don't think anyone really, truly, deeply in their heart wants to go to war. Even the people who say, ooh, I hope something happens. No, you don't. No, you don't. You do not want to be in the middle of a revolution or a civil war, shooting, hurting, and killing people who are your neighbors. You don't. You don't want that. I don't want that. None of us want that. And if you do want it, again, get some help. Because I'm sorry, if your hate is so deep that you hate people who look different than you because of the color of their skin, get some help. Read a book. Talk with someone. Figure shit out. I'm sorry. You need help. We can make this world better. We can do it. We have heroes to look up to, right? If you're religious, your hero's Jesus, right? It could be another, God or deity as well. I'm just using Jesus because that's what I grew up with. If you're agnostic like me, your hero could be a fictional character. It could be Superman. It could be Spider-Man. It could be someone from the Stormlight Archive or Lord of the Rings. Be like Aragorn. Be like Legolas. Be like Kaladin. Be like Dalinar. Dalinar made a lot of mistakes. He was a war-mongering guy, but he also is choosing, at least in the books that I'm reading right now, to be a good human being, to try to make the right choices, to stand for what's right. Don't be like Sadis. Don't be like Sauron. Don't be like Saruman. Don't be Count Dooku. Don't be the Emperor. Be Luke Skywalker. Be Clark Kent. Be kind. Be Wonder Woman. Be every single hero you loved watching growing up. Be Katniss Everdeen. Because they are the heroes. And again, the heroes have to fight. They have to stand for what they believe in, and they have to go through hard things. Right? Being the hero isn't an easy path. Actually, I'd say hating and being angry and oppressing the weak is the easier path. It was easy for people to bully you in school. It wasn't the nice thing to do. But if someone's bigger than you and they bully you, that's easy for them. The hard thing to do is to protect someone from the bully, because you have to put yourself on the line. You have to stand up. You have to deal with the fact that you could get hurt. That's the hard thing to do. The easy thing to do is stand by. The hard thing to do is to stand up and be kind. To stand up for those weaker than us. To stand up for those who need the help. That is the strong thing to do. That's what Superman would do. That's what Spider-Man would do. That's what Jesus would do. It's what Wonder Woman would do. Katniss would do. Luke, Leia, Ahsoka, Anakin when he was good. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Literally so many examples of good people. We can be better. I know we can. We have to wake up. Because we are barreling towards destruction. We are barreling towards a world in which hate is boiling up. And that's going to not be good for anyone. Again, I know there's people out there like, ooh, I hate seeing posts of conservatives being like, well, I hope we go to war. I hope we have to fight each other. No, you don't. Stop being dumb. The same people who are like, I hope someone breaks into my house so I can use my gun. No, you don't. You don't want to do that. None of us do. So stop deluding yourselves. Grow up. Be kind. Again, I want to be like Superman. I want to be like Spider-Man. I want to live in a world where those are the people in power, not Lex Luthor. And we currently live in the world where Lex Luthor is in power. But guess what? People like Superman take Lex Luthor down. Okay? So, we can do this. We can rebuild the system to benefit the 99 and not the 1%. We just need to start acting more like the heroes we grew up with. We do. They are the example. They are what we should strive to be. And if someone's telling you that they are wrong, then those people are the people that want you to be angry. They are the people that want you to hate. And they are literally showing you who they are by saying, oh, I don't like Superman, he's too woke. No, that means you're just a racist piece of shit. That means you are a person who just does not like other people. You are not kind. I believe we can be better. I believe we can be the heroes. I believe we can change these things. So, stay woke. Stay heroic. Stay loving. Stay kind. And let's build a world together. Let's get out there. Let's take action. Let's donate money. Let's do whatever we can to contribute to a better world. Because we can make it better. We do not have to accept a future of dystopia, of authoritarianism, of totalitarianism. We can and we will succeed in making sure that future does not come to pass. I love you all. I appreciate you. Again, be like Superman. Be like Spider-Man. Be the hero. Love y'all. One world, one people. Peace.